Oh, well, hello there, Philadelphia. My, you know what? You've never looked better. I mean that. You have never looked better. And look, I know that the Super Bowl in 2017 will always have a special place in our hearts, right? It was our first one. You never forget your first love, your first anything, right? It was our first Super Bowl. Yeah, dreams and nightmares and the dog mask. It was a fairy tale underdog story that kind of pulled at the heartstrings, hit certain tones with the fabric that is the city of Philadelphia. But doesn't this Super Bowl hit just a little bit differently? I was worried that after our first Super Bowl, would I ever feel the same way about a Super Bowl team, an Eagles team, to hoist another Lombardi after finally, after all this time, grabbing that brass ring? This one hits a little bit differently, right? But it's not the fairy tale underdog Rocky gets up off the mat and lightning in a bottle fairy tale story that was 2017. No! This 2024 Eagles team hit a different note, hit a different tone within the city. Because this wasn't a fairy tale. This was a nightmare for everybody who was not wearing Eagles green. This wasn't a feel-good story. No. This was an angry revenge story. It hits a different tone in the city of Philadelphia. And what happened on Sunday is just a giant FU from Philly to the rest of the world on anybody who ever doubted us. To everybody who called Nick Sirianni a clown, a bozo. What does he even do? It's not even his offense. FU, trophy. To everyone who ever doubted Howie Roseman, said he just needed a puppet for a head coach, that he wasn't good at drafting, he wasn't good at bringing in free agents. FU, trophy. To everyone who doubted Jalen Hurts, said he isn't the guy, he's not a winner, he can't throw the ball to lead you to a championship. Oh yeah, really? FU, trophy. To everyone who doubted Jalen Carter, said all those off-the-field issues, yeah, we're going to let him fall in the draft. We're going to take a pass on him. FU, trophy. To everyone who doubted Mekhi Becton, because he was stuck up in that hellhole called the New York Jets, injured, and they called him a draft bust. You know what? FU, trophy. To everyone who said Jurgie couldn't fill in for the legend Jason Kelce, you barely heard a peep out of that man because he was too busy doing his job. FU, trophy. To everyone who said A.J. Brown is a cancer in the locker room and him and Jalen Hurts don't get along. FU, trophy. To everyone who said Saquon was going to get injured and wasn't worth the amount of money that the Philadelphia Eagles were paying him. FU, trophy. To all the Eagles fans and the city, the organization, the coaches, top to bottom, that were doubted, FU, trophy. Philadelphia, you've never looked better in your lives. I'm proud of you. And just remember, he loves you, baby, because we're Super Bowl champions. FU, trophy. How you feeling, boys?
Bro, you got me ready to leap out of my seat. FU trophy? I love it. You got me hyped, dude. Like, I had no idea which way you were going to go. And it's real, too. It's real. This isn't manufactured. And now I'm sitting here absorbing it. And everything I wanted to start with, the whole direction I thought we were going to go, and I'm fucking lost right now. Pardon me, but I am. FU trophy. I love it. Good for you, E. You got me riled up already.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to all those people. I appreciate each and every one of you doubters and haters, because without it, the team wouldn't have gelled and came together. I'm one of those Nick Sirianni clown guys. Now, I've been quiet for the last, 4 months? Since week 6, I've had to shut my mouth and be quiet about my coach. But I'm one of those guys, didn't like his hand, just didn't like what was going on. So, I mean, I'll take a little F me too. But at the same time, after winning and Jalen Hurts becoming MVP, and then the very next day, the conversation was still about, well, the poor Chiefs, and the Chiefs are going to retool. You know what? I appreciate that, because listening to AJ come out 2 days after and say what he said, It is about the hunt. It is about the journey. It is about the arrows in your back that keeps you hungry, that keeps you fighting. You know, when they said, let's hunt, oh God, did they mean it? Did they mean it? So thank you. I know what Erock talking about, and I get it, and I feel that. But as much as it's F you, it's also appreciate you. Because if you keep doing that kind of stuff, you're going to keep the fire stoked here in Philadelphia for a very long time. For a very long time. I'm happy. I'm excited. And, I wouldn't say anything remotely close to egregious to Erock right now because I can feel it. I can feel it. Like how the last 2-3 weeks, you felt it from me.
Yeah.
You felt it from me. Again, we were all obviously on the Birds. We were all confident in the Birds. You were a rational human being and said, I'm not guaranteeing it. And the first thing I said was, I'm guaranteeing every damn thing.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
And the championship game before it, because me and Ashford were talking about beforehand, the championship game, I sat here and said, you will think about this game for the rest of your life when you need something to be happy about. And they put up a 55-point spot. I knew, because we just talked about it, he asked me, when did I know? Why didn't I have confidence? I knew in the Rams game, when they beat the Rams, that the Philadelphia Eagles were winning the Super Bowl, and they were going to win it confidently, and they were not going to be denied. I knew it after that game, in the middle of that game, and it's one man can make a difference, and that man is Jalen Carter, and that man is Jalen Hurts. So one on offense, one on defense. I knew that Jalen was the guy who could fight through adversity and plays his best under his best pressure. But in that Rams game, when I watch it, because again, dude, I watched Super Bowl 4 times. We talked about this. I watch the games. I'm watching all 22s. I'm not Duffy, but I'm watching. Carter is a man among boys. And once I saw what he did in that game, I couldn't imagine anybody beating this team. So that's where my confidence came from. The Jalens gave it to me. One on offense, one on defense. And they proved me to be absolutely right because God knows I'd have been clipped and all that stuff would have been thrown up in my face for saying guarantee this, guarantee. But I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't Charles Barkley in it. I felt it. So, dude.
So, all right, because
you have to.
we're champs now. So we can get
Have to.
we can get
You're
back
honestly
to that
lucky
real
I'm
quick.
not pouring one over your
We
head
can get back to that real quick. So hold on. Let me say this. Because we were talking about it. I did say, when do you know? And for weeks, for months, I've sat up here and I've told you I'm confident, I'm bullish in this team. And week by week, we would go, all right, we see something and they're growing. It's Detroit and everybody else. And then even last week, I was telling you, it's between the two best teams. No, it's the best team, right? And every playoff game, I said, I'm not scared of the Packers. I'm not scared of the Rams. I'm not scared of the Commanders. And I'm damn sure not scared of the Chiefs. I said all that. I believed all that. I believed they were the best team in football. I believed that they were the better team in the trenches. They had the better skill positions. I believed that it was their game to lose. We all did. And I guarantee you did too. I didn't see that. As confident as I was going into the game, I, like you, not gritty, but I, like most of you, and I'm assuming you, I was pacing. And I was calm and confident, and there was that serenity that you were talking about the week before, until I saw, it got around 5 o'clock. And then there was an image of Sirianni walking onto the field. Oh, Christ. That's when it hit.
When the butterflies
It was
started.
real. And then from that point on, I was just pacing in my house.
Hey.
I was confident, but come on, let's get the game going. Let's go, get the game going.
The wait's the worst part.
Point being, no matter how confident I was, and no matter how confident you were, they beat the brakes off them. The brakes. And I'm just not sure that I saw that coming. That way.
I didn't see that thorough of an ass whipping coming. And the remarkable part about what they were able to do and show the rest of the world, who I'm sure did not enjoy that game, but again, don't care, FU trophy, right? That was for us. Because what they did out there was nothing fancy.
Mm-mm.
They didn't do any Philly special. They didn't, no trick plays, no razzle dazzle. They just played their game with the confidence of, they sacked them 6 times, didn't blitz, didn't have to, didn't want to, didn't need to. And Mahomes was rattled in the second quarter, visibly shook, scared, Travis, you could see just the confidence, the swagger, the three-peat bravado that they walked in there with. You could see it melt away before your very eyes by doing nothing fancy, by just playing their game. And that's the remarkable thing about football when you play with that amount of confidence, is that when you, and Nick Sirianni preaches, the detailed, right? Fundamentals, toughness, do your job. And we can't be great without the greatness of others. When everyone just does their job and executes what they're supposed to execute, they don't need trick plays. They don't need razzle-dazzle. They don't need anything special because they are special. What that team is special. And you're right, it was the best team in football. And if anybody had any doubts about that, you need to start rethinking about not only this year and what you were watching, but we've got the youngest roster in the NFL. You need to start rethinking about what you're going to see next year and the year after that. Because I'm not using the D word. Doug Peterson went up there and said new norm. So I'm done with that. But the reality of the situation is the best team in football, not the 2017 team that kind of, hey, came out of nowhere, lightning in a bottle. We all know what it was, all right? We're not discounting it. We know what it was. No. This hits different because this team is going to be a problem for all of you for the next couple of years. Buckle up.
So you said it hits different. And it does for this reason. Because there were questions going out like, well, which one was more important? Which one was more special to you? And I know this one does hit different in that regard. 2017-18 was still that first, and it was euphoric, and it's always going to hold a place in our hearts. Yeah. But this one hit different, to your point, because it was, guys, let's call it what it is. It was one of the most dominant, abusive, start to finish ass whoopings that we've ever seen in a Super Bowl. Now, there's a couple games you could go back and look at. You could look at San Fran and the Broncos. You could go back and look at Broncos and Seahawks. Broncos have a couple games where they've gotten their asses kicked, right? But this, even the score itself, and it's wild. It's wild to say a 40-22 game wasn't even that close because it wasn't. It was 34-0 with like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. It wasn't even close.
No.
The reason it hits different to me is because not only was it an ass beating, not only will it be a game that will forever be played in terms of, hey, look, this is one of the most dominant Super Bowls ever. You're going to find it on these top 10 lists. You're going to find it on NFL Network playing it. And we're going to be able to actually enjoy it versus hide from it or change a channel because we weren't on the other side of the football, right? We were the team doing the dominating. But when you sit back and think about it, we have never in Philadelphia been a part of a game like this. Never been a part of a game where it's got championship on the line and it was just a boat race from start to finish. Just an ass whooping, belts to asses from opening kickoff to the final whistle. We've never been able to watch a game of this magnitude with such peace and calm and serenity and everything that you talked about the week before. If there was any stress in that game, we created it. Because we were like, the shoe's going to drop. That's not enough. Who can't settle for field goals? Yes, you can. Jake Elliott set a record for the most points by a kicker in the Super Bowl.
After coming off of people questioning whether or not we should get another kicker in here because he's got the yips. Again, Jake Elliott, FU trophy.
It was fun because it was one of those games where we literally, everything broke our way. We got to enjoy it. We all looked at each other for the entire 60 minutes going, can you freaking believe they are beaten? We are going to win the Super Bowl.
And we knew it
early
by halftime.
Early.
Yeah.
Right? Wild, man.
Gritty, you're awful quiet over there, man.
I'm letting you guys enjoy your moment. Yeah. I'm letting you guys really enjoy your moment. You are happy. You are feeling it. You are passionate. You had tears in your eyes. And I have that emotion, but I swear to you, like, and again, there's nothing more I could say other than the way I was acting weeks going up to the Super Bowl. I had literally no doubt. I didn't sleep 2 days after Super Bowl because I keep watching it, bro. I keep watching it. I'm just looking at it, just watching every play. But the night before, I went to bed at 12 o'clock. I slept until 11:30. I didn't turn my TV on until 6:15. I didn't care about analysts. I didn't care about conversations. None of it mattered to me. And, now I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you guys. I'm just taking that because I've done my show 2 times. And even then, I can't articulate enough how happy I am. But I will say this, like, as much as I'm a Jalen guy, once I felt it turn on, that's what I feel like he believes and how he felt when he said Long went into the locker room and talked to him after the NFC Championship game. And he's like, I don't know Jalen from anything. I mean, I met him a couple times. He's like, I said, oh, you ready for it? He's like, it's already been written. And he just was like, and he walked out. He's like, oh, holy shit. Like, this dude's not playing. Like, that's how I felt for the last 3 weeks. So when I'm sitting there watching it, Bree asked me, like, when did you die? I was like, I knew after the first series, they got that first down on that first play, and I'm like, okay, so let's see if we're going to hold to a field goal. I was like, we're going to hold to a field goal. They never crossed the 50 until the middle of the third quarter. And after that first series, I knew this team was going to win the game. And you keep saying to 22, it's 40-6.
Yeah.
It's 40-6. I don't care what anybody says. It is 40-6. If I have one complaint about Vic, he let him off the hook. They are who we thought they were. We let him off the hook. My quarterback has been taking arrows in his back. The graciousness from him and this team, you're lucky, Patrick Mahomes, that the Philadelphia Eagles graced you with being allowed to have over 100 passing yards, because you would have ended that game if the starters were still in, 87 yards, 1 touchdown for 6 points. If they didn't put the backups in and put Kenny Pickett in, imagine that. Kenny Pickett has thrown more passes in a Super Bowl than anyone on the Dallas Cowboys roster for the last 30 years. And our quarterback wasn't even born the last time they won a Super Bowl. So I'm going to talk about them later because Dak said the dumb thing that he said while I'm trying to enjoy my life. But my goodness gracious, Jalen Hurts said it was written. I said it was written after the Snow game, and it was written. I don't care who you believe in, what you believe in. So me being calm, cool, and collected today, I'm like, man, this is for us. This is for y'all. We are champions. I am a Super Bowl MVP champion.
So for every reason that you were confident, and for every reason that you were confident, and for every reason that I was confident, so confident that I think for me is where some of the doubt started to creep in, because I was so confident there was no way they were going to lose this game. I felt like it can't happen. That somewhere written in the stars, it was, don't forget, you guys are from Philadelphia now, right? Because we've had those moments. We've felt those moments. So that was the only thing in the back of my head saying, because every time I would tell myself, guys, birds by a billion. Like, there's just no way the Chiefs are gonna compete with them. Then that thought would creep into my head. I think it's funny that now we're like, the fact that it was against the wild part, it was against Patrick Mahomes, right? It wasn't the Phillies beating the Rays, right? You got a World Series, but you beat the Rays because they got by Boston. No, it was Patrick Mahomes going for the dynasty, creme de la creme, best of the best, and you made him look pedestrian. You made him look like Kenny Pickett. And the fact that Kenny Pickett got snaps in a Super Bowl. The backups were in a Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs trying to close out a dynasty three-peat, and we're putting in our backups to get some burn. Thanks for your help along the way. Guys, 5 minutes to go. Why don't you close it out? I keep piecing it together, and every time I rewatch the game, I learn something new. And every time I rewatch the game, I find out something else new, or I pick up on something else. And I sit back, because you mentioned Kenny Pickett, and you just think about it, guys. The Eagles closed out a Super Bowl by putting their backups in, because the game was over.
Against 2017 was special because it was Brady, it was Belichick, it was the Patriots dynasty. And who is going to the New York Giants had done it twice, right? So you knew it could be done with the right formula. That was a bad matchup against Bill Belichick. Nevertheless, it was Brady and it was Belichick and it was Patriots right in the middle, right in the midst of it of their dynasty, which, by the way, started by beating us in 2004. With this Super Bowl, if the noise that you heard, if you could hear anything above the cheering and the roaring coming from the city of Philadelphia, was the collective jaws of the globe, not just the nation, with their jaws hitting the floor because they couldn't believe it. But the reason I felt confident is, last episode I was doing a little name dropping before bodies started dropping at the end of last episode, right? Doing a little name drop. Everybody I talked to, and I talked to several different people, were like, team's dialed in. Never seen the team this focused. Never seen this team so angry. Never seen this team like lockstep, marching in step, singular focus, dialed in. And the people I were talking to would have shot at me straight and been like, hey, no. They were like, I've never seen, they've got blinders on. They went to the farewell, the send-off party. People were bitching and complaining about, like, they acted like they didn't even want to be there. They didn't. They wanted to get to New Orleans. And during media day, people were like, they're acting like they don't want to be. They don't. They want to get to New Orleans. And I swear to God, when Hurts and Patrick Mahomes went up to the podium and there was that trophy there, Hurts like just calmly looked over at Mahomes. Mahomes looked nervous the entire time because I think you could feel the energy that was that Philadelphia Eagles team. And post-game, I'm watching post-game John Clark saying, hey, several players, hey, did you know you were going to blow them out this bad? And they were like, Josh Sweat was the first one to talk. Actually, I'm going to keep it real with you. Yeah. And then they talked to Landon. And did you know they were going to blow them out like this? Yeah. And then they talked to different defense. Yeah. Milton Williams. Yeah. Everybody knew that if they did their job and just played to the level that and just handled business, that it was not even going to be close. They were convinced that they were going to murder this team, and they did it.
So give me a second. Bree, could you put the comment up from Wawa Marvel, please?
Oh, boy.
So Wawa Marvel, for the audio listeners, I'm going to read this to you.
I can't read this.
I'm going to read it to you. You don't have to squint.
All right, good.
I hope you're ready for this. Hurts is not the Eagles' greatest quarterback. He's the most successful. McNabb is. Same as AJ at wide receiver. Carmichael is. There's a difference, Gritty. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to put my laptop down. I'm going to tell you this. Marvel, I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for being an Eagles fan. I also appreciate you for being one of the dumbest mother on the planet Earth, okay? Do not speak to me this week about my quarterback, the all-pro, Super Bowl MVP, been to 2 Super Bowls, okay? Let me tell you something about Donovan McNabb. I love Donovan McNabb. I got his jersey. I call him McNubian. I moonwalked as a kid. I love McNabb. Thankful for all his service. But he threw up in his first college game. He threw up in his bowl game in college. He threw up in his first game as an Eagle. He threw up in his first playoff game, and he threw up in the Super Bowl. Pressure bust pipes, and that man was weak. And I'll tell you another thing. Oh, Andy Reid is the best coach. You know what I love most about this Super Bowl? That's the Andy Reid I remember, forgetting to run the damn ball. His quarterback throwing balls into the freaking dirt. Marvel McWawa, shut your mouth when you speak about my quarterback or don't talk at all, okay? You're better off telling my fat ass to shut up about Nick Sirianni and get to apologize already. But you, right now, are one of the dumbest Eagles fans on the planet. And thank you for watching. Go ahead and click subscribe and hit the like button. Click
gripping the seats like I'm coming in for
right now, you know in your heart you're just dumb. I love Carmichael. Is he a Super Bowl champion? No, he is not. Did he go to 2 Super Bowls, McNabb? No, you did not. You would have. T.O. went out there on a broke leg like a grown man while you threw up like a bitch in the second half and you lost by a field goal. With Andy freaking Reid, who all of a sudden is trying to be the GOAT over Bill Belichick. You sucked half of your life away, and now you want to come in here and try to do something? You don't want to talk about dynasty? My defense is called the Dynasty Defenders. Trademark it, book it. Because when we go out there, we shut down the Patriots dynasty, and we just shut down the Chiefs. Wawa Marvel, Jesus, Jiminy, Josephine Baker, take your Disney ass back to Disneyland and shut the LL Cool J up. Don't come back in this comment because I will block you out of here. I don't want to hear a damn thing about my quarterback today, this week, this summer, next season. Elite, you as a commenter are not. But again, I appreciate you for your patronage and watching the show. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh my, all right. Well, listen, like that's why I say it hits different because I'm not willing right now to entertain any conversation. Well said, Gritty. Entertain any conversation about like, hey, what quarterback is better? McNabb had the longevity with this team. McNabb has the stats. McNabb doesn't have the hardware. Nick Foles came in. I would just say he was the most because he won the damn thing. Jaworski went to one, whatever. Cunningham revolutionized, was part of that new quarterback era in the late 80s going into the 90s. But while we're enjoying this, because that's what we're genuinely doing. I'm not trying to compare this to that or this one to that one. They're both they're like my kids now. Those Lombardis are like my kids. I love them both. I love them equally. But I do think that when you look back, and I don't know how far in the future this is going to last, because Foles was the only guy to do it as of how long ago? 2017, right? When you look at it right now, Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in Eagles history. Not because of the stats, not because of longevity, because he got him there, lost, and did what no other Eagles quarterback was able to do, let alone NFL quarterback was able to do. And that was dust himself off a heartbreaker, get back to the grind the next year, have his heart broken again with the way that season ended, get back to the grind for another consecutive year, and then win the whole thing in convincing MVP fashion.
So I want to let you talk about it. I'm just going to throw it out there because I am a man of the people. Appreciate the 30%ers. Marvel, it is what it is. I still love you. Talk about, real quick, Ashworth. It was a home game for the Philadelphia Eagles because we're sitting at home. But when we were listening to it, it was a home game. Dude, everybody in the comments, we're going to get to everything. We don't have a time limit on the show today. Bree, we're going for at least 97,000 minutes. So just...
I got paid parking out there. I got
listen, 8:30. The Philadelphia Parking Authority is the only Debbie Downer.
Pay the ticket. We got the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Pay the ticket. We got the Super Bowl. Fair. Anyway, talk about the Eagles taking over a Super Bowl. It sounded like 70% to me.
That's what they said. And they had said it the whole time, right? In terms
I didn't believe it,
right? Like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's 5-1 in terms of ticket sales. I didn't believe it because usually when you get there, things kind of balance out. But I don't know if it was because it was Chiefs fatigue. And I get that part, right? It's expensive to go to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, how many can you possibly go to?
You can't go to 3 straight. So, and in the Eagles, we're always salivating. And plus, look, Chiefs Kingdom my ass, all right? Fly, Eagles, fly. Our group, that's a different breed. That's a different breed. And I don't say kiss my ass to Chiefs Kingdom because you guys are a great fan base. Legitimately, you are. And I know there's a lot of good fans out there. But nobody in this league compares to the Eagles fans, and we know that. Nobody travels like us. There might be one or two that you can kind of keep in the same conversation, and that showed up in New Orleans. It felt like a home game, and you knew it off the rip. When they ran out the DMX and the crowd started going crazy, you knew it. You felt it. Oh, my Lord. This is a Birds crowd.
I had trouble believing it, and this is another thing I want to touch on, because I was at that Arizona Super Bowl. I was there at that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting in the corner of the end zone. I'm in the Eagles employee section, and I'm looking kind of like the way, I'm so used to looking here. That's why I struggle with remotes, right? Because you guys are at boats. I'm so used to looking this. So I'm looking this way, and it's just a sea of green. And I keep filming because that's the Eagles, behind the Eagles bench, and it's a sea of green. And I'm sitting next to Fran. And he taps me on the, and I go, my God, this whole stadium is taken over by Eagles fans. I keep looking to my right, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he points that way, and I look, and it's red, like intimidatingly red. And I'm like, there's where they are. Oh, I didn't see them over there. I forgot to look to my left. And so when they were talking about ticket sales and how much was coming from the city of Philadelphia or Philadelphia area, I was like, I know we're loud and we're on Broad Street and we're partying. Welcome to the Philadelphia fan base. Kind of what we do, right? The Chiefs, I'm sure they go to bed at 8:30 at a reasonable hour. They're Midwest folks, you know what I mean? They're kind of they're kind of humble or whatever it might be. But looking at the TV, listening to the TV, listening to the crowd, and then also seeing, there was photos and videos of Chiefs fans outside the stadium, like leaving, like we're done.
Third quarter.
So to circle back around about a point that I wanted to hit, I felt some kind of way about being at that Super Bowl in Arizona. It was like a missed opportunity. I'm here. I'm DJing. I've got the governor of Pennsylvania. I'm sharing John Dorenbos is on. I'm sharing that Wilbur Montgomery's hype. I'm sharing the mic. This is an epic moment for me. I'm headed to the after party afterward. This is an epic moment and it was just heartbreaking because I'm like, this is supposed to be an absolute epic moment for me. After this win, I don't feel the same way about attending that Super Bowl because it's almost like I was there at the villain origin story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was there to see the birth of green evil. You know what I mean? Where that stuck with them, where Jalen locked his phone screen. I was there for the genesis of this, what culminated in Sunday. So now I'm almost like, yeah, I was there. I'm pounding my chest. I was there when they lost. You're damn right I was. And you know what I got to see? I got to see Philadelphia after they exacted their revenge. I feel vindicated, Black Gritty.
So vindication is everything. Revenge is a dish best served cold. And it is legit, and it is true for one reason and one reason only. When you win in the fashion that they have, and I really don't want to talk about the refs, but when you have 3 Super Bowl championships, you don't get called for one holding call. In 3 Super Bowl victories, and then you cry about how everyone else is crying about the refs. The only time you had any penalties is when you went against the other golden boy and Tom Brady. So do I think that the mafia has got some Illuminati coming down on Cousin Frank that's calling the game? No. But I think there is a greatness bias to quarterbacks, to coaches, to legends of the game. And once the torch is passed, you feel that way. So if you're a Buffalo Bills fan and you watch this game and you're like, okay, we couldn't get to him to hit him like that. The only time we got to hit him is when he was scrambling. That throws things into causality. When you're meeting at the summit and he's in the backfield, you're taking those sacks, and everybody's like, well, he's not crying about getting hit now. Look at him. Because he can't move. What are you going to cry about? You're in the pocket getting bum rushed. It's not you were running around and 2 guys fell on you and one fell too hard. There was none of that LeBron James, and I love you, LeBron. There was none of that Fugazi fake taking an injury outside. You got straight up smacked in your face, and you had to take it. And that is a blueprint for the rest of the league. I don't know if you ever watched 300.
Yeah.
When he threw that spear, cut his cheek. Once everybody knows a guy can bleed, it's over for you.
Man.
There is blood in the water now in the AFC, and now everybody knows if you get Myles Garrett, if you can go get a Crosby, if you can go get something and put it on your team and get to this guy, he will wet his bed, okay? Wet his bed.
Because he ain't built like that.
He's not.
So I get it. That is the blueprint. You're correct. The difference is it's a blueprint that not everybody can execute, right? It's a blueprint that says, all right, not only do you have to have the horses up front, you better be strong in your back end. Right. And that's exactly what the Eagles were, right? You had 2 very solid corners. You had a knockdown slot. You have you had 2 safeties who were very capable. You have an all-pro linebacker. I think when we look back to your point, Gritty, about when you meet him in the backfield and how Mahomes wasn't able to get away. When you look at the 2022 Super Bowl, they would get after him. But you're talking about Fletcher Cox and Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, like big dudes that could push the pocket, but they're not nimble, right? The blueprint here was, okay, Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter and Milton, like a bunch of Ferraris, and I'll tell you what, I said this about Nolan Smith. He's a Ferrari that hits like a dump truck. Like this dude, again, another guy that I just didn't see coming.
Nolan Smith. Potential draft bust. Everybody said he couldn't do it.
FU trophy.
But
right?
Also, they got to play on turf.
And they're
so
5-0
much
faster on turf.
Sodfather.
Right?
FU trophy.
That's the biggest one. Because even when you're naming those guys, they led the league in sacks. And again, you hate to complain about it because the Chiefs had to play on it too, and they were ice skating, but it neutralized the Eagles' defense greatest weapon.
Absolutely.
So again, the back end was fine. It was good enough. But when you neutralize their greatest weapon, their pass rush, it changed the whole dynamic of that game. And so
it did. It 100% did. And I don't mean to discredit that. I think where I'm really going with that is where in 2022, and we saw it, where Mahomes would find a little crease here, a little wrinkle here where you thought you had him in the backfield, and then boom, he's 15 yards down the field.
Hard to contain him.
There was a couple instances here where he thought he had some space, but them Ferraris were on his ass in 2.2. And they would pursue and they would chase. And it was at any given and again, I still, when I rewatch these games or that game, because I feel like I've done it 5 times already, I'm just amazed at how quickly they were in the backfield and just the number of times. I mean, we talk about the Coop pick 6, which we haven't brought up yet, but obviously we will, right? Obviously we will.
Let's go.
But because we focus so much on the Coop pick 6, but the 2 plays before that, sack, which put him in 3rd and 16, which forced him to try and squeeze the ball in, which led to the Coop pick 6. Just the frequency that they were in the backfield, collapsing that pocket, and Holmes was, at any given moment, off his first read. Now he's flustered and he's scrambling. It was all game. And it was just, God, it was fun to watch.
Again, that's the Andy Reid I remember. That's the Andy Reid I remember. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, you break up with the girl. She's overweight. She's wearing glasses. Now she goes and gets with a new dude. Oh, you on Ozempic? Oh, you got LASIK? You got a new job? You're going on vacation to Barbados, bitch? How you gonna leave me? And oh no, you see, because I didn't even care about leaving and breaking up with you. But now you went and turned to a bad bitch that left me, and now, guess what? Those Ozempic's wearing off. You just lost your job. And your man ain't taking you on trips no more. And now you looking like that basic bitch that I left 4 to 7 years ago, and I feel better about my life because my new girl done glowed up, okay? Brittany Yanni's out here doing things that you could never dream of, okay? Rallying the troops. They're reading together, focusing on mental health, brotherly fighting, back to brotherly love, keeping the razor sharp. You know, iron sharpens iron. Well, we're not out here sharpening loving each other like you guys are, because the only one with any kind of balls that didn't know how to play was Travis Kelce. He wanted to fight CJ. He tried to push Davis and realized that mountain of a man didn't move. He tried to run. So, okay, let me get to this real quick. He tried to get CJ GJ, and CJ put his hand behind his back and said, "Not today, sir. I will not take your bait." Even though, you know, he be talking trash. Then he went up to Davis, and he tried to move Davis and chest bump him and push him. Davis didn't even move. And whatever he said to him, watch the tape. Again, I watched this game 5 times. Davis didn't move, didn't even look at him. Carter whipped around like, what did he say? And I'm like, yo, you set this man off even more. And to you, Travis Kelce, I hit the Herd podcast. Love you, brother. Love the fan, love the love. But you got to retire, bro. Because, again, I watched the game 4 times. You played like a baby back bitch. You weren't blocking anybody. You couldn't catch anybody. You couldn't get open. And just like Conor McGregor, once you get $100 million, it's real hard to sit in that ring and have somebody try to drop kick your head off. You're not built for it anymore, bro. You're dating a billionaire. You're using a jet to go to Starbucks. You're getting paid $100 million for a podcast to talk with your brother about all kinds of fun stuff. Give it up. You didn't protect your quarterback for shit, and you all were pre-crying in the 3rd quarter. So everybody out here thinks the Chiefs are going to reload. Andy Reid's not going to let me tell you about that old bit I got rid of on Ozempic. You're in for some rough times because right now your quarterback is cooked, and you can't go get a whole offensive line in the draft. Welcome to the Philadelphia Andy Reid experience.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I mean, because you're right. There are numerous plays where Travis just looked disinterested.
Toasted.
Wanted no parts of the game. But again, the more I watch it, he wasn't alone. He wasn't alone. Nope. And you said they wanted no part of it in the 3rd quarter. They wanted no part of it in the 2nd quarter. Once DeAndre Hopkins dropped that ball, which could have given them a little life, you saw it on the sideline. Chris Jones dropped to his knees. And like the minute you see that, that's your leader on defense. He's succumbing to the moment saying, oh, like, Lord, come on. Once you see that, they're broken. And then you just saw it play after, like, go back and watch it. And as hard as it, don't worry about the Eagles. Don't focus on the Eagles anymore. You're going to watch this game 50 times. Spend one game, just watch it. Just watch Kansas City players not pursuing the ball, standing still, watching the play around them, just kind of slouching. They were broken early. They were broken. And this wasn't just some team. This wasn't just some, hey, we got here, we're lucky, it didn't go our way. This was, for what we were sold, the dynasty, better than the Patriots, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT, not the runner-up, the GOAT. We were sold a bill of goods. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Kansas City. We know how hard it is to win in the NFL. We know how hard it is to win a three-peat. That's why it's never been done.
Right.
I'm not going to act like that doesn't exist. And I'm not going to act like this isn't just one game. It is. All the talk about Patrick Mahomes has to drop down. It's one game, right? But it's meaningful. And the context of that game matters. Watch the Chiefs. Their spirits were broken early. That game was over well before you and I were at home comfortably thinking it was over.
I'll be curious to see like what is to become of the Chiefs, because it's easy in the playoff. How am I trying to articulate this? Playoffs are a game of matchups, right?
Sure.
So some teams, even though they might have a lesser record, are a bad matchup for another team. It's one of the reasons I was kind of very thankful that Tampa Bay was out of the playoffs when Washington bumped them out of the playoffs. I was thankful for that because it was just a bad matchup for the Birds. In hindsight, I don't think anybody was beating them. But at the time, glad to see Tampa Bay out there.
Yeah.
I know the rest of the AFC is sitting up in their seats watching that game going, oh, shit, no. Oh, he bleeds. Oh, we can do this. We can probably do that. And the thing is, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Because again, I'll circle back around. The Eagles didn't do anything special. They didn't find the secret sauce. They didn't do any razzle dazzle. They didn't find the chink in the armor or anything like that. They're just better than you.
The first time I ever dated a model, like a legit model, after that time, I've dated several other models. Because once I got one, I knew I could do it. Belief is a hell of a drug. Hope is real. So when you're in the AFC and you're losing by 1 and 2 points and 3 points, and the whole Texas team is talking about the refs, and now the refs are taken out of it. Oh yeah, you said you got to get the horses. There are already good teams out there. The Ravens are a good team. If they just say to themselves, hey, even if you can't run on them, just keep running it. Because, oh yeah, we're going to take Saquon out of the game. And if you do that, Jalen Hurts is going to fall. Jalen Hurts is going to fall apart. Well, keep running the ball. Don't quit on it. Because you see what happens in the inverse. Andy did not run the ball. So what do the 4 guys get to do? They get to hunt.
Your ears back.
You refuse to run the ball at all. 6 rushes. And even when you're down, the Eagles are still on the ball. Eagles down 10. The Eagles never get down. When they were down against the Ravens, they still tick, tick, tick.
Trying to
because
get an
you
offensive
have
rhythm.
to give the team something else to think about. Andy Reid made no adjustments. So when, like you said, the team bleed. Hope. The AFC now has hope. They're all looking at, again, getting a Myles Garrett, getting someone. The DTs are plentiful in this draft. Some people might move up and some get 2 because it's the same way that Tom Brady got beat. The Giants were like, hey, we got dogs up front. Oh, we got to go against them again? Let's tool up again. Let's get the guys up front. So the AFC is going to be out there, and again, putting chinks in that armor. And the difference with that is, for us, is everyone else has to literally catch up in the trenches against Philadelphia.
Yep.
Because we're not only deep, we are coached well. We are getting the Bectons. We're getting the Sweats. We're getting the guys that last year were okay. Like you said, potential bust, potential. Now that you've got the right coach and the right mindset, even if Vic left after next year, these guys now have the tools and the knowledge and the know-how. That's the biggest thing I took away from Media Week. Every single player kept saying, I love Vic. I'm trying to soak up all his knowledge. I love Vic. I just want to hear what he has to say. He is a begrudging. He's the Jimmy Johnson of art.
No, you're right.
Say it. Say it with your chest.
Like I said, they're the dynasty defenders. I'm trademarking. I'm booking. They're the dynasty defenders. I know we don't want to talk about that, but just like I told, this team is built to win, and they're taking the right tone from it. And the young core, as long as you got Carter, Sweatman, I hope these guys can stay figured out. If not, they deserve their money. God bless them. But it's Howie season right now. This team is ready to go. They're learning. They're wanting to win. And once you win, the hope, the belief, the know-how. Now you've got the confidence.
I want to get back to that you didn't say. Say it. Because so often in Philadelphia, we protect the past. We protect who we've created legend status out of, right? We've lifted certain people up to some status that no. Like it's when the legend becomes fact, you print the legend, right?
Right.
So
Buddy Ryan.
Buddy Ryan, right? Great defense. I get it, 100%. Jim Johnson, great defenses. I get it, 100%. Bro, Vic might have the best defense we've ever seen in Philadelphia. This is the best team we've ever seen in Philadelphia. This is one of the best teams the NFL has ever seen from start to finish. Now, maybe we pick it up at week 5. You understand my point. But we can't be afraid to change. Like, yes, God rest his soul. I'm completely with you. This dude's the best defensive coordinator Philadelphia's ever seen. The proof is in the pudding. You got it all season long. You got it in the postseason. You had it in the biggest game of the year in the Super Bowl. He had the dynasty confused. He had Patrick Mahomes looking like a rookie.
Well,
Say it with your chest.
I remember the 3 commenters that got on me because I said Carter hit him with the Reggie White wachop. and he did it again to Patrick Mahomes. He hit him with the wachop, and the dude just melted. And again,
he got him right.
Like I said to you,
two-handed too.
I'll take a fine.
The first memory I remember of my father telling me about football was sit down. He got up to the TV, put his hand on the TV, and he said, "Watch this guy." And this is back before you had DVR. You didn't have anything going on. He didn't know what the next play was going to be, but he's like, "Watch him." And I watched him for 3 defensive plays in a row. Literally pick up, displace his man, and walk to the quarterback. Pick up his man, displace, push 2 guys down the line into other people. And I was like, he is strong. My dad's like, he is unstoppable. And when I looked at Carter, like I said, when I watched him in that Rams game and I rewatched it, I said, I felt just like I felt when my dad told me to look at the screen. I said, this man is unstoppable. And when you have something like that on defense and you have a quarterback who has confidence and belief in himself, you said it earlier about not protecting things. All these other quarterbacks are great, but all of them have one thing in common. Once you lose, you don't go back. The last person to do it is Jim Kelly. The last person to win one is Greasy, someone you don't even know about, okay? So for every quarterback that you think is great, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, suck my mammy jammy like I told you to last week. Because these guys not only never got back, they didn't win another. They didn't have an opportunity. And all the guys that lost, Cam Newton, shut up, Cam, about game management, because you couldn't manage to get back to those Super Bowl. You couldn't manage to jump on the ball. My guy took an L, and an L where he outplayed the quarterback, where he could have got Super Bowl MVP as the loser. And he still went back and won. And again, it is a team sport, but they literally said, I'm going to shut down one of the greatest running backs to ever play in this game, and I'm going to make you beat me. And what did he do? His job. He did his mammy jammy job.
So let me ask this question. And we can get into this because I don't know where you want to go with it, but I feel like it bears asking because we're talking about Vic Fangio. I've already told you I think he did the best DC job that we've seen in Philadelphia. He's going to have, the Eagles have some holes that they're going to need to fill now, or decisions that they're going to need to make now on the defensive side of the ball. Are you going to pay Zach Bond? Are you going to let Milton Williams get the bag? Are you going to let Josh Sweat get the bag? Is Brandon Graham going to retire? Like, there's going to be a lot of questions. What are you going to do with Darius Slay? There's a lot of questions heading into next season. So I'm looking at this here saying, look, guys, the reality is they're not going to bring them all back.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
But go ahead, pose your question.
No, please.
But to answer that, because then when you're saying like all these holes, I was having like 2017 flashbacks, even 2022 flashbacks. Philadelphia is now a destination spot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand, these players talk, and these coaches talk, and these players have backed Nick Sirianni this entire time. These players, like A.J. Brown, have defended Nick Sirianni time and time again. You've heard the players like Brandon Graham and Jordan Mailata out in the media saying, we back this guy 100%, even when times were bad. So now you're wondering, what does Nick do? What does Nick bring to the table? Is it Nick's offense? And undoubtedly, we are going to lose players. But when you take a look at the Eagles organization, that's now viewed, should have been the entire time if anybody wasn't getting it right, as a first-class organization. Hey, Myles Garrett.
Bro.
You want to come win a chip?
Say it.
You want to play for a coach that you're going to love, that has your back, you want to be in a locker room that you've never, ever been. Let me introduce you to Mekhi. Look, why don't you tell Mr. Myles Garrett over here about the great city of Philadelphia and this great organization and that team that genuinely cares and an organization that genuinely has your back. All that bullshit that Nick Sirianni was spouting off about, now you've got the hardware in the trophy case to go, oh, you don't think it's like that here in Philly? You see that trophy right there? I want it. It's almost like Bill Belichick. Like when you went to the Patriots, you felt honored to put on that Patriots uniform, but you didn't question the coach because he had all the hardware. And Nick Sirianni will never be the Bill Belichick type, but he's kind of a new school coach that connects with the players and coaches with the players. Hey, rest of the NFL, you want to play in a city that the fans, best fan base in the NFL? You want to come play for a first-class organization that cares about their players? You want to play for a coach that all these players will fall on the sword and die for and love? Don't worry about the holes. Talk to Howie Roseman. He'll work out the numbers come to Philadelphia.
It's funny you said. I wasn't even going Myles Garrett because I wasn't going necessarily trade.
I'm just using Myles Garrett as an example.
Because
that's
part of the conversation. That's a very real part of the conversation. If you are going to lose those guys, well then all right, Howie, go get on the phone with Andrew Berry. He's your disciple. Go have a conversation. You can throw a couple first-round picks around. If you're gonna lose these two guys for the bag, and you need to potentially 3 guys on the defensive line, who else? Who better than to go get and pair up with Jalen Carter than Myles Garrett? But where I was going with that, honestly, and this I'm saying this as a form of hyperbole. I really am, because there's been all this chatter about, well, all right, do we prioritize Milton Williams? Do we prioritize Zach Bond? Do we, does anybody want to bring back Mekhi Becton? Do we want to give Josh Sweat a contract? There's chatter about all the impending free agents. And I, again, this is hyperbole, but I say it honestly. Let them all walk. Go. Let them walk. I'm not worried about it. Let them walk. Why am I not worried about it? Because in 2022, I remember a linebacker who was homegrown, TJ Edwards, and I thought, oh, God, get that guy a contract. You got to keep that guy around. He's really blossomed. And no, they let him go, and he went to Chicago. And there was different guys that I remember on those teams. I mean, Isaac Seumalo. I remember him, and I was like, oh, no. All right, hold on. He's pivotal.
Hargrave.
That's a guy on the inside that you can't just let that guy go. We're built on the trenches. So he said, no, we're going to go to Pittsburgh. Javon Hargrave. Oh, that guy's going to get the bag. But he was so pivotal on the defensive line. How you going to let that guy go? You can't do that. And you go back and you look at it and you say, well, wait a minute. Oh, I'll give you. How are you going to let Hassan Reddick go? How are you going to win without an edge rusher? You can give him the contract he wants. Christ, we're about to lose our Hall of Fame center. And you think this team just isn't going to feel it at all? But all Howie did was in 2 years, he took TJ Edwards and he gave you an all-pro linebacker. And he said, Isaac Seumalo, hold on, let me go draft Landon Dickerson. And he said, okay, yeah, I get it. Jason Kelsey, you guys ever met Cam Jurgens? I promise you you're not going to remember Jason Kelsey. And then he went out and he said, oh, Javon Hargrave, you guys ever hear about Jalen Carter? Let me introduce you to a guy named Jalen Carter. He's a pretty good player, isn't he? My point is, trust Howie a little bit. Not that I want everyone to just up and walk.
No, I didn't take it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying, let him go. I'm saying it from a hyperbolic perspective. But guys, every move that we've kind of questioned and said, whoa, got to resign that guy. Do you?
No, you don't.
Do you? Because Howie, through amazing drafts, through finding diamonds in the rough, maybe it'll be through a potential trade. My point is, he finds a way. For me, and guys, they just won a Super Bowl too. So he's got the credentials now. Howie will find a way. I don't want everyone to walk, but we will lose players, and we will be okay.
We're going to be okay. Black Gritty, let me ask you, out of all those free agents and potential retirees, pick 2. You're keeping 2. You're allowed to keep 2. Pick 2.
I'm not keeping anybody. Generally what you said, just because I am an emotionally detached person, I assume everyone is going to go get their check. I see in the comments, they're like, I feel like this guy would take a front. No. Dude, if you have worked your entire life for something and someone is going to offer you a ton of money, that is why Kellen Moore is down there, that dumpster juice organization, the Saints. He's going to lose that job in 3 years. He's going to be a career offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. But guess what? He interviews poorly. And when one girl wants to take you home, you go home with the girl that wants to take you home. So everybody is going to leave. I assume they're all going to leave. The caveat I'll give you is Howie is bringing people in. Right now, I have the coach on defense that is developing these guys and turning them around, because a lot of these guys were last year the bust that people thought they were. And then you bring in another coach, and he's the reason that Zach Bond is playing the way he is. Zach Bond gives him the credit. Zach Bond's been in the league a long time and never did anything. This guy put him in position. Carter was a beast when he came in for the first 8 games, so he hit the rookie wall. Davis has been in here 3-4 years. Never looked like he has this year. So when you have the coach, how he's bringing in people, he's done a lot better job since his mistakes. But even with bringing in all that talent, if you don't have the general to mold them and to make them into who they are, it's not like when you go out and you get a Heisman guy like Schmitty. It's not like when you go out and you get a guy like Jalen Hurts, who is a second-round pick, but he was at Alabama. He went to another major university, won a national championship. It's not like you get A.J. Brown, who is just a juggernaut on a bad team. Stoutland, you could make anybody a good lineman. And if not, he'll get rid of you. He knows who he can inspire and who he can't. So the coaching staff right now that we have, Howie is afforded the luxury of a huff mistake.
Sure.
Because not everybody can get turned around. But as far as everybody who's going, I assume everyone's going to leave.
But if you had your choice, and you could pick 2.
If I had my choice, I would say Becton and Sweat.
Wow, I wouldn't have gone that way. I think I would go, and I'm kind of torn. It's definitely Zach Bond. And the reason I say Zach Bond is because for years we have implored, hey, please give me a linebacker. You found an all-pro. It fits what Vic's trying to do.
He's super cheap. I don't even consider him. That's why I didn't think about that.
Fair enough.
He's not going to go out in the market and get $100 million deal.
I don't think he will either, right?
So he's a linebacker.
He'll get a good deal.
He'll get, after winning the Super Bowl, he went from getting offered $7 to $8 million to somebody offering him 10. 10. I'm thinking he's older. He's not a young guy. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And he's done it 1 year.
You're right.
I feel like somebody might offer him 10. Howie would be like, hey, I'll give you 8, but you're here. And he'll say, you know what? Thank you. 1 to 8, I'll take it.
I don't think you're wrong. Here's where I get into the, okay. Like, for me, I think I'd let Josh walk. I think if Josh is going to get the bag, I like Josh Sweat. I do. I don't think Josh is a premier edge rusher. I think he did himself so many favors in that game with 2.5 sacks. My decision is between Becton and Milton Williams. Here's why. I really like Becton. I really like what he did and the way that he transformed that offensive line. But they do have Steen, and Steen has filled in admirably, and that's why you drafted the guy. The reason why I would consider Milton Williams, I know he's going to get a bag, and I know the draft is deep, and maybe they can go find a guy and hit on him. If you look at potentially trying to fit, and I like Ajomo and I like Booker, right? But Jalen Carter needs a running mate. Jalen Carter needs somebody next to him that if he's getting the double team, this guy can clearly beat a one-on-one matchup, which Milton Williams showed that he could. If you look at the free agents that are out there, if you, God forbid, miss on the draft pick, 29, 30, 32, he's 25. Like, he's clearly the best young option. I look at him and I think of Javon Hargrave when Javon Hargrave was with the Steelers and the Eagles got him at the right time. Now, I think he's going to get a hell of a lot more than Hargrave got.
That's the problem you're talking about. Because he is younger, his bag is going to be exponentially bigger.
Correct.
So, again,
I just wonder what that bag's going to look like.
The dream of to keep, I take reality out. That's why I didn't even have that conversation with you guys. But the dream of everything you just said, you're right. But you know what? That means from 30 million to 50, where Sweat might be at 25 million to 30. So I'm being realistic if you're making me give an answer. And as far as the line's concerned, Steen is great because he goes guard, center. He moves, he can shift.
Yeah.
Becton, I'll tell you this. So, again, I relate things in my life. That's why I brought up the supermodel thing. I'm proud of myself. Again, I have hope now, and I know that I can do all things. But there is a time when, you are down in life. There was a long period of time where I was, poor. We did not have money. Things were tough. And something happened in my life where it changed, and it wasn't a good change. Something bad happened, and it changed. I went from having everything in life to having nothing to going back to having everything. And in that period where I had nothing to getting everything, when he's sitting on that floor and he's sprinkling confetti over his child, I'll tell you, for a year, out of sheer pettiness and just greed of my own heart, I slept in my car through a whole winter because I had friends, place I could go to. My brother got a girl, turned his back on me, kicked me out of the apartment. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to go stay with anybody else. I got 2 jobs. I work 80 hours a week. I slept in my car with a heating blanket in the middle of winter. Again, I could have went and asked anybody, hey, can I sleep on your couch? I just didn't do it. Some nights I got a hotel room. And after I worked and I saved up all my money and I got my first very own apartment and I sat in it like he sat on that ground on that floor, I cried like a baby for like 10 hours straight, just laying there crying, looking up, knowing that like I had my own place and I got there and I had worked hard and I had earned it. And you only appreciate that after going through what you went through. For him being a first-round pick, coming from college, oh, the NFL is going to be great, bro. You're going to do great things. You're going to be everything. And you go up there to an organization that doesn't know how to develop, nurture, care for, or understand a player. And it's not just him. It's just the organization. To come to Philadelphia, where he's out there hurting on the sideline again, pushing off in pain to come out and play. When he sat there and he cried, I know what that feeling's like. So if anybody's going to stay here and take a friendly deal, I know it's a man like that, because there is something to once you've reached goodness in the world after having so much pain, you're like, man, I deserve this more than I deserve the money. And that's something that is just so powerful and palatable for anybody who's going through something. So
he's connected. You're saying he's connected to this team, right? It's more than a paycheck. It's the difference between, well, do you want 11 million or will you take 8 million? Right. But be connected. Now, I don't know what that number is. I'm just making that up. Right. But I mean, that matters. He's 100% right.
It matters too. And you almost hope that, he has sort of that. Listen, I realize the term hometown discount doesn't exist. It rarely comes up. BG, guy is going to take the hometown discount just to remain in Philadelphia. But you hope, Becton takes this almost sort of Quinyon Mitchell approach, the way he approached Toledo. Like, everybody else rejected me. Nobody else wanted me. Toledo did. And I could have transferred. I could have entered I could have went to Alabama. I could have went here, premier school, gotten, more eyes on me, played in bigger games. But Toledo believed in me. And so I stuck with those guys. And you kind of hope that for some of these guys, like Bond, if I had to pick two, it's Becton and Bond. Because I feel like they're not only great players, but they're cogs in a very important for Fangio's defense to work correctly. And listen, the Eagles' offensive line has always been priority 1A under Jeffrey Lurie, Joe Banner, Andy Reid, now Howie Roseman, Doug, Nick. The O-line has been the starting point for this organization for the last 20 plus years. So you hope that, hey, listen, you put your faith in this organization because this organization put this faith in you. And I hope everybody gets what they want, but I realize that some players are going to walk and some players are going to get their bag. And I appreciate what they did for this team because, again, this Super Bowl hits a little different. Go get your money if you feel it needs to. You always have a special home here.
Yeah, and we're talking about guard money. We're not. He's no longer a tackle, so we're not talking about tackle money. We're talking about guard money. It's not Pro Bowl. It's not all pro money. It's starting guard money in the NFL. So I don't think that is going to be anything that Howie can't find a way to get it done. I'll give you just an odd one. And this isn't anywhere on the priority list, but just somebody that I'd like to see stick around. I'm surprised I'm even going to say it. I don't think it's going to cost him much at all. Keep Kenny Gainwell in Philadelphia, please.
Yes. Go find a way to keep Kenny Gainwell in Philadelphia. I don't think there's going to be a team out there trying to throw the bag at Kenny Gainwell and offer him a starting job. Mm. He's a great backup. He gives life to that offense when Barkley needs a breather. Mm-hmm. We've seen it time and time again. Find a way to keep Kenny Gainwell in Philadelphia because whatever he figured out in this offense is working. Speaking of Kenny Gainwell, I'm sorry, but speaking of Kenny Gainwell, do you know how much confidence you have to have that you were going to beat this team handily, to be a backup running back? I don't know what his salary cap situation is or what his contract situation. Did you see the necklace hanging around his neck to pay that kind of money for?
It's not real.
I know, but regardless,
Yeah.
to just the amount of confidence you had to have that thing around your neck. Kenny Gainwell walked around with that thing like a boss. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kenny Gainwell gone. The draft is deep in running backs, is deep in defensive tackles,
And they have Will Shipley.
Yes, and they have Shipley. Kenny gone. I appreciate it from his service. I appreciate that he knows how to block. For nothing else, someone's going to offer him money that they can't give him.
Mm-hmm.
If someone offers him money, now he'll regret it, like Miles did. You know what I mean? But like,
wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I just feel like Kenny is, again, you say things today that make sense. You haven't done it all year, but you've really killed it today. You say things that make enough sense.
I did it last week too, though.
Yeah, you did.
Or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
A couple weeks
Jason
ago.
Kelsey
Yeah,
comment.
you did. You did.
Yeah, it's the first time. I like it.
You've been so much better.
Thank you.
So when you're saying things that make sense like that, the reason you make sense like that is the reason why he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
The things that you're saying about him and what he's doing and the value that he's provided, someone else is going to see that in him and offer him a couple more shekels because they're trying to get something. So the fact that you're right means that you're wrong. Let's can we get have a woo player and then we're gonna talk about some defenses because we haven't talked about defense. We haven't done anything fun. We just been out here in our glory days.
We'll get to
We got time.
We'll get to the woo player, but I think there's a more pressing question.
Well, no. We're gonna do that afterwards. Don't rush me. Don't
Okay.
rush me. Don't
All right,
rush me.
then we
On
can-
my own
Who starts
time.
with the woo player this week?
Huh?
Who starts with the woo player?
You.
I didn't even think of it.
You. Me.
Okay.
Which sucks for me.
The
'Cause I'm last.
Are we gonna roll?
Are we gonna roll? Are we gonna roll the thing?
Oh yeah.
That's so funny. I did a Ric Flair voiceover. I didn't even put two and two together right before I came here.
Woo!
So we were gonna woo. All right. My Super Bowl champion, 2 times woo player of the week, none other than the mastermind of the defense that absolutely dismantled the GOAT Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty. A guy who was told that he didn't connect with the players, that he wasn't liked down there in Miami, maybe because they didn't have the type of mentality that they do here in Philadelphia, and went on after a long career dating back to the mid-'80s, finally won his first Super Bowl. So you, Mr. Vic Fangio, are my woo player of the week.
So I'll see your Vic Fangio, and I will raise you one because I agree that my woo player of the week will be on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that my woo player of the week vastly, greatly impacted the outcome of Super Bowl 59, but it's not a player. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get in trouble with Mr. Black Gritty. But this individual made damn sure that Patrick Mahomes felt that heat all night long. Vic Fangio may have been calling the plays. Vic Fangio may have been orchestrating that defense. Vic Fangio sure as hell was not blitzing a damn soul. Why? Because Clint Hurt had his boys ready.
Ooh.
Then was it 6 sacks? 6 sacks, I think, on the night.
Yeah.
One shy of a Super Bowl record?
Yeah.
And not one blitz? Ooh, Clint, I don't know what you were doing. I don't know what you were feeding them boys. I don't know what kind of gumbo you were having down in New Orleans, but you had them ready. And for that reason, and that reason alone, you, sir, are my woo
player of the week. So it's funny because I did marvel. You haven't come back in the chat. I apologize. I made you leave, but you deserved it. So Jalen Hurts has not been a woo player by anyone since we've been wooing.
Since we've been wooing?
Since we've been wooing.
Not one time.
Not one time.
All this wooing,
You
all
went back
these
and
weeks.
checked?
I did.
We got the woo records.
All this wooing.
The Woo Archive?
Yes, we have not.
The Woo Chronicles.
Kai, the Woo Chronicles. And it's because of the reason everyone has maligned him. The running game has been so good. The defense has stood out so much. And all Jalen does is his job. And Jalen sometimes, again, that's why I said we let the other guy off the hook, not keeping him for under 100 yards, because it would have been chef's kiss for having to have to deal with that. So for Jalen Hurts to deal with all the arrows in his back and to be the leading rusher in the Super Bowl, broke his own record, to go back again, he has the highest quarterback rating of any quarterback in a Super Bowl. He broke several records in this win where people think he didn't do anything. He didn't deserve MVP. It should have been someone on the defense. It should have been this or that. But all I know is that the fourth best defense in the league did what everyone has been saying they were going to do all year long. We're going to stop Saquon and see what Jalen can do. And Jalen Hurts never had to live that life. He never had to find out. So there were so many doubters who didn't believe in the guy because he just never had to do it. And the defense showed up on our end and did our job, but their defense showed up and they stonewalled Saquon Barkley and that rushing offensive line. And who delivered his dime to Dotson streaking up the side when he checked to the play and he called an audible? My quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Who called audibles and got the ball out to Smitty, got the ball out to AJ, crossed the middle. Oh, he doesn't throw across the middle. Streaking across the middle, sideline crosser for a touchdown. A dagger of all daggers, the biggest FU in the Super Bowl to come out and throw that bomb from a noodle arm quarterback to his wide receiver in the end zone for a touchdown. My Super Bowl MVP quarterback, Jalen Shut Your Mammy Jammy Mouth Hurts, is my player of the week. Now, you and your shenanigans and you're chopping at the bit.
Oh, am I?
You are so disrespectful. So much so, I'm upset at the fact that you apparently, off the happy juice of a Super Bowl, forgot to fear me. You just for a small brief moment, you forgot to fear me. And I know you still had fear because you didn't tag me. You didn't tag me.
Yeah.
You didn't tag me. You didn't tag me. You didn't put it in the main chat. You put it in a story. I'm sitting there enjoying my Super Bowl butt naked on the couch eating Cheerios, watching on the second run, and I'm getting DM after DM. Where are you at? Where are you at? From people that are fans of the show that I know kind of from the comments, but I don't know them. And I'm like, what do you mean? Where am I? It was weird to me. 4 people in a row, like, where are you at? And I'm like, what is going on? And then the last, where you at, the 5th one, I get a link to my man's story.
A lot of people watch the stories.
You're a popular guy.
A popular guy.
Yeah.
It took me 47 clicks. I had to watch your whole life. I think I saw both your kids being born by the time I got through the dang story, okay?
Guilty. I am so sorry. Very guilty to the point.
Your story was a dang novel. It looked like one of Jalen Hurts' quote books, bro. You were just... So I finally get to the end, and here you are at the main gate in the front. Boy, when you get there 2 days beforehand, you were the first one in line.
Nah, I was. Hey, listen, I got a tip off what time the boys were landing, and I decided to make my way down to the NovaCare.
Who tipped? What do you mean you got a tip off?
And a tip off, he did not tell me about. I didn't know about the tip off. I didn't know that I could
that didn't make the story.
Even have the time
yeah. Listen, only so much goes through the story.
This is what I'm saying about.
I have stories. I don't tell stories.
This is what I'm saying about. You get a little Super Bowl juice in you, and you be forgetting to fear me because you set me up. You didn't tell me about the time. Didn't even give me an option for the time. But then you out there panning. Where's Fat Gritty? He's supposed to be over there holding up a sign. I can't find him. And I was like, you son of a... Oh, you...
In just your underwear.
Oh.
You're supposed to be in just your underwear.
Just an embarrassing individual, this man. So, again, shout out to Fred Wilson. He is a fan of our show, a fan of my podcast. And he is, as much as I personally am a Jalen Hurts guy my whole life, he is a Nick Sirianni guy from day one. He's in my... Every time we win a game, Nick Sirianni, I'm like, bro, Saquon Barkley just ran 4,000 yards. Don't come to me about Nick Sirianni every week. So between him and the rest of you, the first step in what I said I would do is I would bend the knee.
Oh.
So today I will bend the knee.
Oh, wait a minute.
We will then figure out an appropriate time during OTAs and all that other stuff. And why are y'all videotaping me?
I heard bend the knee.
Because bitch, I'm gonna put it on the story. I'm gonna put it on the story.
We're on camera. So
Hold on.
I'm gonna run y'all's tape out. Y'all ain't gonna have time to do it. So I gotta set it up because I gotta apologize to Nick officially, and then you can put your cameras away. Y'all
gonna read something?
Yeah. No, I'm not reading. I'm not reading anything. I'm a man of my word.
Okay.
And I do things properly the way they're supposed to be done.
Okay.
There you go,
So-
story listeners. This is going on the story. Oh,
we got the green light.
Matter of fact, let me come over here. Let me get my number one camera. Let me get my one.
Get the one. Get the one.
All right, we gotta set it up.
Hit him on the one.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You can shine right in my face. I deserve it. Throw the one shot up there. Get these guys out here. I don't like these guys. Nick Sirianni, I apologize for everything that I've said for you from day one. From your first press conference, I have been on you. I have not liked you. You have annoyed me. You have embarrassed me. You are the antithesis of South Philadelphia. You have bravado. You have gravitas. You have balls, and you have confidence. And sometimes I've been a little rough on you. I am going to delete my Sirianni Twitter handle. I have deleted all the tweets. I'm going to delete the handle. And going forward, after today, I will still criticize you, but I will do it under the lens of fairness and not anger. And I will have objectivity. I will also denounce saying your name after today, other than holding the sign. Your name will be Nick Sirianni as far as everyone else is concerned. As far as I'm concerned, sir, you are my coach. When I reference you, I will reference you as my coach because that is what you are. You are a Super Bowl winning champion, a two-time Super Bowl going to champion. You are the king of Philadelphia. And I appreciate you, honestly. I thank you, honestly. And I know the fact that you did what we all wanted to be done. You took Andy Reid out to that woodshed, and you, sir, put belt to ass. When they said they trusted the other coach and the other quarterback, and they laughed at you, I kind of laughed too at you because I kept believing in my quarterback. But from here on out, I will stab anyone in the eye that tries to talk about my coach because he is a Super Bowl champion. I now, sir, again, my coach, bend the knee to you. Go ahead and don me with fear.
Madre Patria, a Super Bowl MVP, beat Patrick Mahomes. Ding, ding, ding.
My coach, I thank you for your service.
Oh my God. There you go. The apology that we have all been waiting for. The apology that you and I, Jason, have been catching, like glancing at each other when he's been going on and on about Nick Sirianni. I'm sorry, his coach.
My
now.
coach.
His coach.
I love it. I love it.
By the way,
smell
that flag.
Is
Straight boot.
straight liquor?
That's like everything.
Straight liquor,
dude.
That's a whole mix of a whole party.
That is.
That's a little
champagne,
Miller. That's Miller. Hold on.
Beer and Broad Street street juice.
Yeah, I definitely I just smelled the street juice. That's a little bit of that sticky. That's a little bit of the sticky. I don't know who you're with.
Listen, the jerseys weren't the only thing that was green on Broad Street. Let me tell you something.
This is the one you were waving the whole time, huh?
This is the one I was waving the whole time, dude. Broad Street was absolutely electric.
It was a madhouse. I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm surprised.
It was a madhouse, but it was worse than 52. Like the difference. I helped host a party with Club 215, Malik and all them, right? They at Tradesman's, just a block away from Broad Street, and it was tough. I was getting DMs left and right about where do I go? Everyone's sold out? Yeah, everyone's sold out. So I will gladly trade a little bit of DJ time and controlling the game volume and kind of throwing a party if it means that me, my wife, Mark and Alicia, Karate Mark, as you know him, are taken care of and got their own section and booze and buckets of beer and all that squared away, I was happy to do it. I was in charge of DJing in the second quarter, meaning commercial breaks, right? So controlling the game sound, having Fly Eagles Fly queued up. That was the other thing. I haven't gone back and rewatched the game. I guarantee you, when I do, I'm gonna see things that I didn't see before.
Absolutely.
Because every time, you're queuing up Fly Eagles Fly, you're making sure, okay, if they score a touchdown, I'm going to play this song, and then going in the commercial, and then I look up, and they're scoring another touchdown. What the hell is going on? And then you look, and then you play the song, and then, a lot's going on. But as the third quarter's going, see, Super Bowl 52 was like close to the end, strip sack, Tom Brady Hail Mary, ball hits ground, double zeros, place goes bananas, everybody hugs, a little bit of a mini celebration. Hey, let's all go to Broad Street, right? So it was big, but it wasn't mayhem.
Yeah.
I'm DJing in the third quarter, looking out the window at Tradesman's, and people are flooding Broad Street before the game's even over. And I went, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And then at halftime, because, I DJ'd up till Kendrick's set, and then Kendrick went on. So when Kendrick went on, I got to watch the game again. But I ran out to Broad Street just to kind of get, put it on the story, right? On one of my 5,000 stories that everybody enjoys watching and tagging you in. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at I'm doing a story, and I'm trying to see the poles, and I touch one of the poles, and I'm like, the poles aren't greased. Officer, why are the poles not greased? And he goes, because you're never going to get close to them. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, this time, we barricaded off the sidewalks to keep everybody. So now you had people corralled.
Oh, you're a cattle shoot.
They were cattle shooting us inverse-wise.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, hey, we're going to keep you all on the sidewalks like they will during the parade. It was the exact inverse. We're going to keep, which was a smart move by the city. We're going to keep you off the poles.
Wait, hold on. What, say that again?
We're going to keep, well, listen.
No, before that. Smart move by the city. About damn time.
Yeah.
The city figured something out.
Now, granted, you couldn't control the chaos that was off on the side streets, but at least on Broad Street. So now you had this shoot. So I told the people that I was with, I said, listen, I would love to see the end. We're going to stay till double zeros? Yeah, we're going to stay till double zeros. When we approach like 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I'm like, we need to get the F out of here. Otherwise, we are screwed. Mm-hmm. And so we packed our shit, grabbed my flag. That smells funny. I'm never going to wash it. And Malik was coming back, and he goes, turn around. You're never going to make it. And I go, what? He goes, the best shot you have is to go. We were on Chestnut. He goes, go down to Sampson, try to bang a right. Maybe you can make it. Just turn around. You're never going to make it. It was borderline dangerous. Like it was like, have you ever been to a heavy concert? Mm-hmm. And then like you're moving like this?
Oh yeah.
And then like, so we're walking, but we're not. Our feet aren't moving, but we're moving. It was the weirdest thing. Like if you focus in on those bricks, and then you just start to pan like this, but your feet aren't moving, and you're like, where the hell? And then all of a sudden, I'm getting separated from Jackie, right? And Mark's getting separated from his wife. I'm like, all right, let's turn around and party on the side streets. The side streets then became so clogged. It was a shit show. So like people would have fireworks, and they put the fireworks on the thing, right? And they start shooting them off. They would start shooting them up. Pew, pew, and some drunk guy would be like,
oh, they were firing them into the stand or into the crowd too.
And they kicked the box over.
Yeah.
So there was one point in one of the stories where you see everybody ducking for cover because the first two shot off into the sky, and then some drunk guy kicked it over, and then it was all helter-skelter. It was one of the wildest nights I've ever had in my life. A little bit dicey on Broad Street. When that kind of cleared out, then we were able to go take our pictures. Then we were able to go, and it was still mob, but it was like Super Bowl 52 mobs. It was controlled mob, right?
Yeah.
I can only imagine the third quarter for the first hour and a half, maybe even two after the game ended, Broad Street was unmanageable. Unmanageable.
So, and where my brain's going, I know I already talked to him about it. That's where my brain goes because I wasn't on Broad Street after the game, but I'm going to the parade.
Yeah,
and everybody I talk to says hell no, okay. I ain't dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. Are you going? See, you're tentative.
No,
you are going.
Oh, I'm going
because I don't know. Okay,
you're going to be on a bus. That's what he's going to do.
You're on the bus. You bastard.
I know. Well, listen.
Come on.
There's certain I don't want to jinx it.
You got
okay?
room
So
for me
it's-
and Jenny? Come on. Come on.
Like I don't want to jinx it.
We'll
I
be
don't
best
want to say
friends.
anything more about that.
Okay.
I just if
So he's going to be at the parade, and he might be on a blimp. So okay.
All right, so for the Joe Schmoes of the world.
Okay,
advice
the
would
reason
you
I'm
give
glad
to
you,
people
exactly
about
that's where I was going.
going
So I'm
to
getting
the-
a
to
thousand gajillion DMs about like, hey, where do I go? What do I do? And as a veteran of the Super Bowl parade game, okay, this is the only thing I can suggest. If you are absolutely 100% hell bent on being at the art museum to hear all the speeches, get there at 3.
Don't you just tell me. Don't tell everybody.
No, I'm going to tell
What do you
everyone.
mean? Now it's going to be blown.
Because I am going to discourage being at the art museum.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the play. If this is me, right? So if certain things don't come to fruition, which I hope they will, fingers crossed, plan B is a solid plan B. If you are hell-bent on going to the art museum or being in that general Benjamin Franklin Parkway area, you want to get there between 3 and 4 in the morning. I'm dead ass serious.
Oh!
No later than 5. Bring yourself some empty Gatorade bottles and a backpack.
So you can piss in.
So you can piss in it. Ladies, I don't know what you're going to do. You got to get creative. Fellas, you know what to do. Huddle around, piss bottle, okay? And then put it back in your backpack. Because if you get front row seats, the parade starts at 11 in Broad Street. I promise you, they say it's going to end at 3, like at the Art Museum steps. It is not going to end at 3. That thing gets delayed. Because players are running off the bus. They're doing their thing, and they're trying to corral all these players, and they really can't go off in sections. If you are a family individual, if you're a mom or dad, you have kids, and you're like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. Help me out. Here's the play that I would suggest to you. Be right there when they exit. They're going to come out of K-Lot in Pattison. They're going to bang a Louis on the Pattison and then hit the right onto Broad. Okay? Watch them right then and there, either on Pattison or Broad. There's plenty of statues to climb on, okay? If you want your child to get an elevated view, I'm just saying, this is my plan B, to be on Pattison, watch them go by, because in reality, that's all the parade is. You watch them go by, you see the trophy, you wave, game over. Then, Philly Sports Trips is having like a watch party, or find one of your own, where you can go back to a bar, watch the remainder of the parade coverage with a bathroom and in warmth, and watch the speeches, audio on at said bar that you're at. That is what I recommend for the Super Bowl.
Where's Philly Sports Trips having that? Do you know where
Chickies
they're
and
having
Pete's.
At Chickies and Pete's? Okay.
So they're having something from like 8 to 11, like right before it starts, where all you can eat breakfast, blah, 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 blah. And this is not me promoting them.
No, you're
This
just saying.
this is what I talked them into.
Okay.
Because I was like, they're like, what are you doing for the Super Bowl parade? I was like, But if things don't work, certain things don't work out.
That's what you'll be doing.
That's what I'll be doing. I'll be yanking my son out of school. We'll be down there at probably 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, a little bit more reasonable. Watch the parade go by, and then go somewhere where there's bathrooms and warmth.
Okay.
Or book a hotel room, DoubleTree, not that expensive, on Broad Street. Go out there, watch it. You have a bathroom and stuff like that. The diehards that are going to be at the art museum, God bless, because that is a top tier shit show. So if you're a college kid and you like to party, go nuts. Bring empty Gatorade bottles. Don't do it on the ground, please. I'm begging you.
Interesting. I mean, I'll be on the float with you, so that's fine. But if that doesn't pan out, I'll certainly keep Pattison in the back of my pocket.
Yeah, I would watch them go immediately, like right off the shoot. I'd watch it go by. All the players are still sober. You know what I mean?
I'm really torn. I didn't get a chance. My plans fell through for the 17-18 championship. I got a text at 3 a.m. that said, out.
What?
Right? So, yeah, I know. I'm not happy about it. It's been in my crawl.
Did you not go?
I didn't go.
What?
Because it was one of those situations where, oh, you're out. 3 a.m. You're out. And I was last man standing. I was going to go by myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I was more pissed off and frustrated about the whole thing.
Okay,
I regret it to this day, to where now I'm saying I've got to go. Even if the next Super Bowl, notice how I said the next, even if the next Super Bowl, I'm one of the guys that says, not a chance in hell, not going, not doing it again. I still want that, to be able to say, been there, done that, check the box, not going to do it again, but at least I have that memory. So I feel like I have to go, but I'm going with Jenny. And I gotta be careful of where I take her. And, she's 5 foot. What am I, you know what I mean? So I gotta take her to play. And she's a female. She pees a lot. Like, what are we gonna do? I can't be having her in a place where there's no bathrooms and she can't. So I gotta figure out, I just gotta make sure I take her to a place where, hey, she's safe. And not a big old crowd bumping around everywhere, and there's bathrooms. So
if you want breakfast, if you want open bar,
it's a great idea.
Just look up Philly Sports. And again, you can do this on your own. I'm not getting paid to plug Philly Sports Trips right now. But this is what I talked them into.
Okay.
Because this was my play.
I dig it.
And they were like, all right, well, we're just going to turn this into an opportunity for more people.
I dig it.
What are you doing for the parade?
Minding my own business.
Okay.
Minding my own business.
Gotcha.
Living the life that I deserve as a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP winner. I feel like I deserve that with Jalen Hurts. So I want to talk about 2 things before we get out of here about the game.
Yes, sir.
The first thing is Cooper DeJean and that interception. The young kid, as soon as I touched it, I knew I was going to score. I knew he was going to score also. And I tell you what, like I said, it was the first series for me. I was like, man, this defense, they're just pushing them. What I believed in my heart for the last 4 weeks, I saw it on the opening drive for them. Mm-hmm. And so I was good. But when that happened, I said his first interception in the Super Bowl on his birthday, and I looked right at it. It was plus 7,000 for him or CJ to get an interception return for a touchdown. And I, being a man of not, jinxing things or whatever, because I don't have superstitions, but I don't usually bet on my team in the Super Bowl. It's just something I just don't do because I don't want to be rooting against or for anything. I just want to win. Mm-hmm. And the winning is my satisfaction. If I don't bet early, like I bet on Saquon to be Super Bowl MVP weeks ago, back when I had that feeling, I'm like, oh, Saquon, 5-1 I got or whatever. But other than that, I'm not putting any bets on. He got that interception. I was like, I could have been a billionaire because I looked right at it and I felt it and I didn't do it. The second thing I'll say, actually there's 3 things. The second thing I'll say is I was with a female watching the game. She is from Chicago. She's a Bears fan, but she showed up in the Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley stepbrothers shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, girl, so she's like, I saw it and I just loved it. And of course, they're so sexy and da-da-da. I'm like, all right, whatever. You could have put me on there too if you made me feel good. But I didn't get on the shirt. But we're sitting there watching the game, and this is someone who's a Bears fan. The Bears haven't been good for a long time, so she doesn't watch football. She watches Super Bowls. She said to me in the second quarter, she said, is the Chiefs running person hurt? And I laughed out loud, not even so much because she said, is the running person hurt? But someone that is so layman to the game that only watches it enough to know that why aren't they even trying to run?
Right.
Because the Eagles are going up against a stone wall. Like, I'm sitting there annoyed about that. I'm like, man, they're really shutting down Saquon. Saquon's not getting anything. Like, oh my goodness. And for her to say, is their running person hurt? Again, thanks for the old Andy Reid to show up. Because I realized, man, they haven't run the ball. Oh, they haven't run the ball. Oh, okay. It's going to be one of those days. You're not okay. And I was so happy that the running person was hurt or whatever was going on because it brought so much joy to my heart. And the second thing I'll say is, man, Spags did the thing that I didn't think anybody could do. He took Saquon out of that game. And our offensive line was holding for pass blocking, but how did he do that? That was so impressive, which makes it even more impressive that the team scored when they had to score. They scored off all their turnovers. That was a big problem. Jake Elliott, they kept calling these phantom calls on some of them, pushing them back. Joe DeCamara, Spike Eskin, get rid of the kicker. In the first round of the playoffs, these 2 dummies are talking about get rid of the kicker. You can't do it. Also, they don't like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to be traded out of here by 2026. Well, congratulations, fellas. He's going to be here for a very, very long time. And I'm ecstatic about it.
It's funny you say that because you're right. Andy Reid didn't make adjustments, right? They didn't run the football. Spags, for as much as we can give Spags credit, because he did shut down Saquon Barkley. But the minute you realized, oh, hold on, Jalen's on one.
Yeah.
You needed to adjust. And he didn't adjust. And he just said, no, for 4 quarters, we're going to stop Saquon. Oh, great. Bro, it's 34-0. You probably want to change some things up. So I'll give Spags credit in terms of doing something that no team has done. But it was a FAFO moment for him. Go ahead, you're about to find out. You want to stop him? Stop him. If you want to load the box because one's dealing right now. And you don't have a care in the world about it. You're just going to let it run up the score to the point where in the second quarter, this game is over. It's over. And you can stop Saquon all you want. This game is over. It was lost before you ever had a chance. So I'll give him credit, but hey, he shot himself in the foot.
Spags walked into the trap.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
convinced that the NFC playoffs were a trap for the Chiefs.
Sure.
Because they saw Saquon more and Saquon more. The Eagles knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
They already knew. You're going to be so focused on Saquon that we're going to have this thing aired out, quick passing game, dink and dunk. Jalen's going to escape the pocket when he needed to. Like, we can give Spags, we can try to give the Chiefs any ounce of credit. Spags an ounce of credit for doing what nobody else could do. The truth of the matter is you fell for it. You fell for the trap. Because they were so focused on Saquon that you saw when Jalen threw that bomb to Smitty, AJ had his hands up before mid-arc. Saquon had his hands up. Landon had his hands up because they just knew you fell into the trap. You played right into the Eagles' hands. And they got you.
I'll do you one better. It wasn't just the NFC champ. Yes, they fell into the trap. Absolutely, right? But it's more, what the hell happened last time you guys played in the Super Bowl? It's not like you went in and said, hey, this guy can't sling it, right? So as long as we stop Saquon, we know this guy can't sling it. He torched your ass in the last Super Bowl. Fair. When this dude gets in a big game, as he was in 2022, he outplayed your quarterback. You saw what happened in the NFC Championship game where he was slinging and dealing. They threw up 55 points. When Jalen Hurts gets into a big moment in a big football game, a gotta-have-it game, my man is lights, and Spags had the recipe. It was right there. You knew the formula. You ignored it, and it bit you in the ass. And like I said, this game was over before it started. You have no one to blame but yourself.
Any final thoughts before we get on at it? Before I collect my parking ticket off of my windshield?
Yeah, I'm eyeing that clock up, too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm eyeing that clock.
Y'all got money. So shout out to Wear Filthy Gear. I saw this guy, he comments all the time, and I was like, what's Wear Filthy? I bought a hoodie because he had a gritty jersey hoodie, and I bought this hoodie, and it's nice stuff. So small guy, he's got little numbers, but he's always in our comments. He's always doing stuff. So as much as I like to ask people to buy my dumb t-shirt, and I'm not doing nothing with it, this guy's making fun stuff out there. So check him out on IG if you want
what
some
off
again?
the.
It's Wear Filthy.
We're Filthy?
Wear Filthy.
Oh, Wear Filthy.
Wear Filthy.
Got it.
And he's just, it feels like rock band Eagle paraphernalia. I feel like it's that stuff when you go to the bar and they got shellac on the wall. And that's the kind of feel that this gear has on it, and I like it.
Okay.
The gritty's got it's like a death mob gritty, like he's missing teeth, and he looks super scary. And that's what got me hooked in. I was like, I bought something for the birds too, but I was like, man, that's cool. So shout out to him because he is somebody's in the comments. We love all the people in the comments. Again, I apologize, Marvel. I know you're gonna come back and listen to this, but you had to get to business today. It is what it is. You walked to the bear trap, and you had honey all over it, and I'm a big guy, and I like honey. So, PHLYcheapseats.com. You can go there to catch the pod, subscribe, share with a friend on this episode, and enjoy what we enjoyed. Erock with tears in his eyes, and very emotional. I think I preset you off with emotion before we started the show too, because you were like, you were gonna get me fired up, and I did get you fired up, and you was fired up. And just a great time, guys. So all our socials will be on there. We're about to take a hiatus because I think after the parade, we're all going to be juiced up at
going
the
on vacation.
Polls. Yeah.
Going on vacation, right?
Yeah, a Super Bowl champion vacation.
Yeah.
Maybe until Howie season starts warming up. But just so you know, that's just where we're going. So we're not going to have a show next week and anything like that. But again, go share the show. Do what you got to do.
Final thoughts.
Man, we're Super Bowl champs. What a fun way to wrap up the year. I think it's when we started this, I mean, it was just shooting the shit. Let's run a podcast. Let's see where it goes. Let's have some fun. It's always fun for me anyway. I mean, you guys have all done, right? I've done radio and I've done television, and never during a season like this. Never where it culminates in this. And it wasn't all the entire season, it wasn't all happy-go-lucky. The first 5 weeks, we were looking at each other saying, what the hell's going on? It was a very interesting season. It was a very fun season. I had a blast. I learned a ton from both of you that I truly am proud of and appreciative of. I'm glad I got to experience it with you guys. And most of all, I'm glad that we get to end the show, at least for this season, and say we're Super Bowl champs. So I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to what's next.
So she's got up there on the screen, Mad Dio. I'm sorry, I was soliloquating, didn't see it. Is that a super chat we got up there? So appreciative of all the super chats. Make sure, obviously, you subscribe to the PHLY Sports channel on YouTube also. The Boo Birds after the AJ penalty were so loud. Oh, man, we missed the super chat. It was early. My fault. The Boo Birds after the AJ penalty were so loud, and it got louder and wider spread after that replay. There's no way the refs were going to call a lot of penalties. I agree, and that's what I meant about giving the rest of the AFC hope, because, again, once you make them bleed and once you made him scared, and the way that they attacked him and kept him in the pocket and hit him, it's over for Patrick Mahomes and this faking, flopping and playing all these games with guys, because the same way, what was the guy's name from the Commanders that said, if he runs, we're going to hit him like a running back? What was the guy? Scott? Something Scott.
DC.
Yeah, the Scott.
Yeah.
Anyway, once you see that, once you know that, it's over for them over there. So Mad Dio, you were absolutely right. The crowd was 70% Eagles, and they let everybody know that we are not playing around in this game, and they did not. And the Eagles left, no doubt. It's 40-6, bro. 40-6.
E, one more time. Wrap us up. What do you say?
I opened the show a couple weeks ago just giving thoughts of thankfulness and gratitude and just things I appreciated about this season, because I had a feeling which direction it was going to end up heading. And as I'm doing this podcast with you all, I find myself, you know how you talk and think at the same time? It's something that you got to kind of develop. Being behind a microphone and being on television, being all the places you've been and being on podcasts like you are, I find myself thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm giving Super Bowl parade advice because I'm a seasoned veteran. Oh my God, I'm comparing Broad Street this time to Broad Street last time. Oh my God, I opened the show by talking about how this Super Bowl hit differently and how thinking back to when we didn't have a Super Bowl. And I used to sit in traffic with red lights in my face. No, we're not ending it like this. With red lights in my face, daydreaming about what it would be like to win a championship and would I ever see one before I died. Because I've had family. I got brothers, grandfather passed away. Never got to experience this feeling. And I'm talking about two of them. There was a point in time where I thought I'd never see one, where I yearned for one. And how fortunate are we? I kept saying that. How fortunate are we to now be talking about having two? I was just down at Lincoln Financial Field doing a goofball video, just staring up at the giant sign. There's two of them. It's friggin' two of them. I can't believe it. Eagles fans, enjoy it, embrace it, love it. It hits differently because now you're two. And I know this isn't landing home for everybody. If you're like under 20, you're like, oh, this shit happens all the time. No, it does not. No, it does not. I look at my son and I'm with jealousy because I'm like, you're never going to have to grow up the way I grew up.
All right.
How many rings you got? How many Super Bowls you got? That turned into... you only got one. You only got one ring. You only got one Super Bowl. It took you long enough. That went to crickets real friggin' quick in this city. Real quick. And how fortunate are we to be in this position? And I feel fortunate to share this season with the both of you, not knowing in the beginning of the season where we were headed. But I'm so glad that we are here in this moment together and sharing it with you. And I want to thank PHLY for bringing us on. And yeah, we're going to take a little break. I'm flying to Florida on Saturday. I'm going to put my feet up for a while. I'm going to Thanos this thing and just kind of take a seat and look upon the world that I want to be in, which is with y'all and fill it up. Philly, you never looked better. You never looked better.
I'm out here with the Dynasty Defenders, and I'm thinking about 3 and 4. and maybe a little bit more, but I'll start with 3.
I got you.
I'll start with 3. I heard AJ. Oh yeah, shout out to AJ. 48 hours afterwards, saying,
Bored.
you know, I realized that the reason I didn't feel the way I felt is because the hunt, the chase, the drive, working hard. Again, when you try to challenge a man on reading a book and mental health, you sound crazy. Because if you know what he's gone through, when that one reporter was crying, breaking down, asking him about a time when he felt down on himself and he pulled himself out of that, and you want to criticize him for reading, just know that this guy's out there reading how to hunt, reading how to rebuild, reading how to get better. And that's spread out throughout the team. I'm ready. I'm excited.
And we're going to take a moment to rest, but it will not be long before we, just like A.J. Brown, yearn for the journey again. Because winning the Super Bowl is great. The party on Broad Street is great. Sure, the party on Bourbon Street was great. But how fortunate are we to all collectively go on this journey together? And I hope that everybody in life finds something that they love the way Philly loves Philly. And again, Philly,
Amen.
you've never looked better.
Amen.
Go Birds!
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
We all silly like the mayor.